In this episode of Denoise, Christopher Nolan's new Odyssey film is going to shoot entirely on Imax.
Companies that went all in on AI and now rolling back.
Microsoft Research new AI model tells you when it might be BSing. Let's get into it. All right, what's up, Addy?
Hey.
You see that HBO...
2 8s, baby.
Not even... Okay, that was not HBO, though. That's Apple TV.
My bad.
You're trying to make a studio joke, which I get.
I'm going to make a studio joke after every episode till the show ends.
I know. Old school Hollywood style buffet. No, the HBO Max, that Max is now back to being HBO Max.
Oh.
That they've gone full circle in their naming.
Yeah, that was a good move. Because, I mean, HBO, the brand, holds such prestige over us.
It's such a good brand. Yeah. And yeah, it was, I mean, I kind of get it because they were also trying to roll in the
No, I don't get it at all.
Cooking channel and the other stuff. The thing that never made sense was when they had an HBO show and then they had a Max original.
Yeah.
I still don't understand what the difference.
I mean, they're different companies, right? Like, there's two different organizations. Like, HBO is in New York, and I think Max might be elsewhere.
LA.
Probably.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that their social media team, A+, in name rollback, they've been posting memes galore.
How did they do it?
Making fun of themselves for rolling back to the original name.
That's a Duolingo move.
All right. Of actual news stories.
Thank you.
Just got an alert. Christopher Nolan's upcoming film, The Odyssey, which you've known about. Very excited about that one.
Yeah.
Just came out. So we knew he was going to film on IMAX. He had IMAX develop new cameras for him. But now it came out that Odyssey is going to be the first blockbuster film entirely shot on IMAX.
That's crazy. And remind
awesome.
me that Oppenheimer was not entirely.
Yeah, normally, because I mean, Nolan shot IMAX for like pretty much all of his movies, but it's usually like key scenes. It's so it's a mixture of IMAX, like shooting scenes on IMAX and then shooting scenes on more traditional cameras. And then if you see the film in IMAX, it switches from the 4:3 square IMAX for like the big IMAX scenes, and then it goes to the widescreen for the other scenes. So this should be entirely IMAX.
That's incredible because it's like such a big uptick in shifting back into film, but this is film 2.0 or rather film 3.0, right?
This is go big or go home film. This is
now using modern technology to really make film easier to live with and shoot with. I think on the IMAX article, I read that it's not only just making the camera lighter and less noisy.
Yeah, so that was two of the big issues with IMAX. They're huge, massive, bulky cameras and loud, where you couldn't really use any of the dialogue being recorded.
Right. It's also improvements into the scanning pipeline.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I don't know what the turnaround is, but I guess it was an issue where he couldn't watch dailies the next day of what he shot.
Yeah, I'd imagine like one 70 millimeter film frame is probably like, 16K in resolution, something super heavy.
How long would that take to just scan a frame?
Right. Exactly. Even if it's like 1 second a frame, like
I'm sure it's longer than that.
Right.
But yeah.
And then encoding that and then uploading it to a server and then putting it up on a projector or whatever the workflow is, that must take a long time.
So I wonder what the improvements. And now I'm curious about what's the scanning improvement. Is it like scan it at a lower res and maybe up-res it a bit, or
it's AI, dude?
I'm joking. No, but I mean, I'm wondering, is it like an up-res of like, if you can scan it at a lower resolution and up-res it or denoise it with a computer?
Yeah, I would imagine maybe there is like almost like a structure where you have the 16K scan, 8K scan, 4K scan, 2K scan, and then the 2K goes to dailies immediately. The 4K will go somewhere, and then the 16K will go to VFX, something like that.
Right, and I mean the VFX one, like they don't need that right away. That's something you can wait to have that. He wants his dailies, obviously, to see what they're filming the same day or the next day. Yeah,
but it's interesting because that's a purely digital pipeline, I'm guessing, in a world that is, celluloid film.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's not screening his dailies on a projector in a projector room.
Oh, maybe he is.
Maybe.
And
he's got that.
It's loud in there.
He's got that, he's got the old school little UHF TV thing that he uses as his director's monitor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You ever see those behind the scenes photos of him, and he has the necklace hanging with and it looks like it's like an old like UHF like
with the antenna
that you would pick up, whatever baseball stations or whatever is being broadcasted.
It's
on
like a
UHF.
tiny CRT monitor.
Yeah, it's a tiny little screen, and that's what he uses for his director's viewfinder. I know there's some interviews with him about it. I think it's because he just really cares about the framing and performance, and he's like not, he has a cinematographer. He's not like trying to check lighting or anything else. It's just to like check out the performance and keep things like pretty basic. but he's used that thing forever.
For somebody at that level of filmmaking, it seems like he's not that into latest tech, like could care less about like Sony's new OLED monitor.
Don't think he cares about that, but he does care about IMAX making a lighter, portable. I mean, it's also just shows his power. Was able to get IMAX to develop a new camera for this type of filming.
Right. And then did you catch the comment from the CEO of IMAX on?
Yeah, what did he say? That this is going to be a record year for them?
Yeah,
in
so
production?
Yeah, exactly. 2025, I think, is one of their biggest years, and there's a significant uptick in the number of IMAX.
Quote, record number of films releasing in 2025 that shot at least some scenes with IMAX camera or, quote, filmed for IMAX, which is their other designation, which is, I think, if you shoot on like a digital 65 or on specific cameras that are big enough to project on an IMAX screen. So it's not technically shot with IMAX,
but IMAX consumed
for IMAX, for IMAX screens that kind of follow their pipeline and their quality standards.
Yeah, it's such a significant shift in movie making over the last decade, right? Because there's a clear differentiator here. And you saw, Sinners on IMAX, right? Like, for a fact that that is worth going to a movie theater for.
Yeah, that would specifically, I sought out a like dedicated IMAX screen with 70 millimeter projection,
right?
Which is hard to find. There's only 10 in the world that were playing it.
Right. So maybe, it's pretty cool. I think it's good for Hollywood in general and big movie making in general to just have like that coveted, window of theatrical release actually have a premium look and feel.
Yeah, it's good for the theatrical experience because it gives you a reason to go see this in the theater, to have like an experience that, you just couldn't match at home. Yeah, I mean, Sinner is a big example. Then, got Mission Impossible coming out, filmed for IMAX, kind of same experience. And then also the Formula One movie coming out had shot for IMAX scenes.
Yeah.
I've been wondering if, Christopher Nolan has been shooting IMAX for years, but then Ryan Coogler makes a 10-minute video explaining IMAX and everyone's going gaga about IMAX. And he's just like, wait, is that all I had to do for everyone to get excited about IMAX? Just to make a 10-minute video explaining like what IMAX is? Like,
yeah, dude.
I went the Christopher Nolan video, but rising IMAX tide lifts all boats.
Lifts all filmmaker boats. Yes, there is other news on the film front.
Yeah, what do we got?
So M. Night Shyamalan, one of my favorite directors, for better or worse. Look, you got to give the guy credit that his movies are unique and doesn't follow formulaic approaches. Yeah. Some of them may have been misses, but some of them certainly have been hits.
Unbreakable is one of his most unrated films,
for sure. Even like the last film, the one with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, the stadium one.
Yeah. Shoot, I'm blanking on the name, but...
It's like a one-word name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, there, no.
Yeah, something like that.
Is it here?
It was a pretty well thought out plot. I think it kind of fell apart on Act 3 and the twist that he's famously known for.
I think he became a prisoner to his own success because then there became this expectation of like, what's the twist going to be at the end?
Yeah. So Shyamalan shooting his next movie called Remain on VistaVision.
Yeah. VistaVision making a comeback too.
So my personal preference, if you're going to shoot on film, shoot it on VistaVision. It's way cheaper than IMAX and it gives you a more exaggerated film look than IMAX does.
Cheaper because you can just shoot on 35 stock.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the special 70 millimeter stock.
Yeah, but because I guess of the chemistry and some of the internal mechanics of shutter angles and all those things, it really gives you like an OG Hollywood vibe on your end result.
I feel like I should know this. Is VistaVision still an existing company or is it just a matter of you have to source these old camera bodies?
That's a great question. I don't know
if they're still an active company or it's just like you got to find an old... like finding like a Bolex camera or something that still functions.
Yeah. Did you know that Alfred Hitchcock shot a bunch of stuff on VistaVision?
I'm not surprised. I mean, it was a big format in the day in the 60s, right? 50s, 60s.
Yeah, I'm super happy that all of this is making a comeback with the added benefit of modern VFX, which makes this so magical.
Yeah. And it just, I mean, it kind of shows that like there could be multiple lanes. It's like, yes, you could have these big temple blockbuster films and throw everything at it and bring in these cool celluloid cinematic extravaganzas. And then also, we have digital, so we could like make a lot more stuff and stories and films. And you could have both. It doesn't have to be like one or the other.
Yeah. And you can have somebody like Zack Snyder who only uses reds. And his movies have
Or Fincher's a red big one.
Yeah, high frame rate action sequences, which are perfect for digital cameras.
Yeah.
Right, slow motion.
Or Cameron, who like pretty much has to shoot digital for the crazy stuff that they're doing. Yeah. So, I mean, you have just more tools, more options, but it doesn't mean, obviously we're shooting a lot less film, but it doesn't mean it has to go obsolete.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if anything, I think this is giving film a second life. And this is something we covered in the show in the past, and a space we're going to watch closely, because I think it directly ties into the health of the film industry going forward. Like how well celluloid film does and how well those movies perform will naturally dictate how well the whole industry performs.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen other stories, so I don't know what film specifically did it, but of a film shooting digital, and then they print it to film and then rescan it to basically like the ultimate film emulation.
Yeah, sure.
I don't entirely know why. I understand. I kind of get why you would do it. Because you could have your final edit and then just print that to film, and you're not spending a bunch on film stock.
Yeah. At some point, like the grain and the film artifacts start to be too much. You're like, okay, this is distracting from the imagery that I would need to follow the story.
Oh, like that takes you out of it?
Yeah, exactly. Have you had a movie like that?
I've been on a binge of like older 70s, 80s movies. Okay. And have noticed, you can see the film grain. And a lot of those films were shot with like faster stock, so the grain is bigger. And so it's cool, you see it. Yeah. It didn't really, it's more just it kind of ties in, it feels like the moment of like the period of when this is shot. Yeah. If I saw it now, I would feel like it feels a little like, unless it was, intentional, like, oh, this is like supposed to be a 70s film or something, or like a film that takes place in the 70s and have that feel. I feel like it would take me out of it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
Have you seen anything? I can't think of anything specific that I've seen lately that was like shot in modern times, but has like a noticeable amount of like film grain.
Yeah, nothing that immediately pops to mind, but it just goes to show that visual language that we associate with film, because it's been over 100 years of it. If you don't conform to it, you're not making a film, which is so important for AI filmmakers to understand. Like as much as stuff you can do in AI, ultimately it has to be a visual language that we're familiar with. That's not just the film grain and all the artifacts, but also the composition, the lighting tricks, and all. Like if you look at like what Roger Deakins does when he lights a set, what Greg Fraser does when he frames up with a particular lens, like they're doing that because that's how it's been done for 100 years, right? These guys are classical cinema filmmakers. And if somebody just comes in and makes an AI film, it has the potential to look too much like a video and not like a film. That's the danger.
Yeah. Or, right. It's the average of all of the stuff it's trained on. It's just giving you the average output.
Yeah. And one of the things that I notice a lot with AI, quote unquote, films is like they just can't get shutter angle right. So like the motion blur is typically missing, or it's exaggerated, or it's not physically accurate.
Or even just the speed of how characters perform is sometimes it's normal. Sometimes it just gives you slow motion. It gives you
that 300 look, like everything is slow motion, but the dialogue is real time. So then your brain doesn't know how to comprehend it. It's like this person's moving in slow motion, but talking in real time. So I think those are some of the big things to watch out for if you're making a film with AI.
Yeah. The last thing about film, because it's just reminded me of something else, Technicolor.
Yes.
The original film stock, not the company.
Not the company.
Because like the original Technicolor was 3 separate film strips, right? Like Wizard of Oz style, like 3 color processes. I saw someone recreate a Da Vinci node pipeline where they would basically take the image and split it and process it with 3 separate colors to kind of recreate the Technicolor look using Resolve. So I was like, that's
pretty neat. And then also,
and it gives you that very like vibrant, saturated color.
Right. Exactly. That's what it was known for, because I think at the time, the film projection technology just didn't give you that saturation and the punch. So they almost had to exaggerate it with film stock. That's my guess.
Yeah. Okay. Enough about film. Next story.
We can talk about it forever.
That reminds me. All right. Next one. AI. So there's kind of a couple headlines going around about how Klarna, the buy now, pay later company, they had a few years ago kind of made an announcement that they're going to be like an AI first company, which is what we just talked about with Duolingo. But they did this a number of years ago. And now they're kind of rolling that back and saying that the AI didn't deliver on what they thought it would. And they're like going back to hiring people. I think a lot of the AI they were trying to implement was for like their customer support chat agent type workflows.
It was also very early on.
Yeah. And so that's what I feel like when I see these headlines and then it's like, if AI doesn't work, I'm thinking like, if you were like tried to jump into this 2 years ago, it was pretty crappy.
Yeah. Like the difference between ChatGPT like 3 and 4 is enormous.
Yeah. I mean, 3 was kind of cool-ish, but it was like, it still needed a lot of hand holding. And to be like, we're going to go all in on this seems like.
Yeah. And I think OpenAI just launched 4.1 beta. Which is supposed to be even better. Yeah.
Which also I could not tell you how that is also different from like 4.0 and
4.0 is the image generation.
No, but it's also just it's also a model.
Too?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have like 6 different models.
Yeah.
One's a reasoning model. They've got to clean up their naming.
Yeah.
They know this. They're aware of this. I could not tell you what the differences are. I mean, 4.0 is kind of the general one, but 4.1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another study that came out. So IBM did a sort of AI study on CEOs that have been using AI. And so their study said that only 25% of CEOs report that the AI initiatives have delivered on expected ROI over the last few years, and only 16% have scaled enterprise-wide. So
that's really interesting.
1 in 4 CEOs who implemented AI in their company thought it delivered, which 75% of these CEOs thought AI did not deliver.
Yeah, this is the AI bubble contracting, right?
Yeah. I mean, also, again, this was over a few years. So it's like if you were trying to jump into this all in a few years ago, I don't think it was there. I think it's getting there now. I think now it's like pretty good for like some stuff. If you're like, maybe it's like you got a problem you're trying to solve, you see if you could solve it with AI first before you bring on a contractor or hire it out.
Yeah. And also I'll just say this with a caveat, like IBM as an AI company, these are probably, my guess is a lot of these are IBM customers, B2B customers. IBM hasn't really delivered on like really outstanding AI products. Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, I'm thinking of like Watson way before OpenAI.
Yeah, right.
And they were like pushing that, and like when it was on Jeopardy
during the
stuff.
supercomputer era, like it was beating Magnus Carlsen in chess and all these things. But as far as like a LLM that everybody's using, IBM hasn't delivered on that, and I don't know if that's even their market.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They never come up in the conversation.
So like looking at this through an IBM lens, it, of course, is a little skewed. I would say that, yes, in general, early investors, early onboarders of AI companies probably haven't seen the result that they were expecting.
Yeah.
Having said that, if you repeat that same experiment today with today's capabilities, I bet you the results would be very different.
And people who know how to implement it and looking at the rise of agentic AI and connecting all the dots and like more tools. Yeah, I think you start this today, it's there. So like the headlines being like, oh, AI is not delivering. It's like, I think, yes, if you started this a few years ago, you're going to have problems.
Also, if you look at like the big trends, companies like Meta and Google, if you look at the AI use cases across the board, the number one use case seems to be coding and software development. So like if this study was done with that lens, that number would probably shoot up higher. Like you have so many AI powered IDEs and software development tools now. I mean, that stuff is so good, Joey.
Yeah.
It's scary good.
Yeah. I'm not a coder, so it's hard for me to like judge those tools, but I keep hearing about them, seeing about them. As we talked about, I think a while ago, I like tried to dabble to like make some apps, but it was like, I kind of sort of did it, but I also didn't know enough to debug it. And so like, or even how to like deploy it. So,
well, I mean, I think I was sharing with you, like I'm trying to build an iOS app for using ARKit, which is the Apple's native SDK for tracking humans and things like that. You still have to give it an Xcode environment, a test iPhone, connect the two things together.
Yeah, you have to know how to do that. So
yeah, like once you're past like the basic level of requirements, then you let the AI kind of take over.
And I can for sure see that if you're already a programmer or know this, like how if you harness it correctly, you could like supercharge your abilities.
Exactly.
And you just do stuff quicker, but you like need to have that foundational knowledge. The scary thing is like, if this is all you know or all you learn on, what's the future going to be like when you don't know how to like troubleshoot or like how this is actually working under the hood?
Well, it's going to be like a aging population of senior developers who have like traditional knowledge And as they start to die out, we lose like chunks of human
maybe at
knowledge.
that point we'll have a way to like download brains,
right?
And so
I think we will,
and then we could just download their knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to go off the far end here, but I think I'll do it. Supposedly, if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s now, chances of you living 100 plus are extremely high because of age advancements, like all of the biomedical stuff that's happening to reverse aging.
Right.
Thanks to AI.
And thanks to Bryan Johnson.
And, well, he's just like a guinea pig, really. Like, thanks to all the research scientists that are working on.
I have bad respect for Bryan Johnson. He gets a lot of hate, but he's like, this guy wants to spend all of his money on figuring out how to like live longer and share it with the rest of us. Like, thank you. Cool.
My counter to that is he's only been doing this for a few years. Let's let him live to 100. Right. And then
he did tweet out where he was like, I'm probably going to die in the most like ironic way possible, and I hope you all enjoy. Like,
yeah, no, he knows it too. It's like he can die in a car accident.
Right, exactly.
All this
There's no proof against that. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah.
But so AI is powering a lot of protein synthesis and molecular structure fitting. Jensen talks about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not just cancer curing, but also reversing aging. So.
Right. Okay. So we could live to be 100 over 100 and
in a healthy way,
healthy,
like
right,
not in just a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Right. No, I went off on a deep end.
We're going to be safe because we'll just live longer, so we'll still be around us.
So those senior software developers, they'll be around for a while. So we don't need to train up new developers.
Okay, so our safety is we're just going to live longer.
Yeah. So. We're going to correct a negative with a negative.
Thought about retiring.
Yeah.
Tough luck. You're going to stick around for another 70 years.
This podcast is going to be on for a long time, so brace in.
And speaking of AI and accuracy, we've got Claimify. So what is this?
Yeah, so let me reframe this for you. We use ChatGPT every day of our lives. You and me do. And sometimes you ask it really difficult questions. And does it ever come back to you with, I'm sorry, I don't know that one, Joey?
I said that it is confidently incorrect.
Like cocky almost.
All right. It will tell you something that sounds very certain, but never quite sure. I mean, things have gotten better since it could access the web, but usually, especially 3.5 days, it would tell you stuff and people would use this as a search engine. I'd be like, really? Like, I mean, and we have the stories of those attorneys, like including references to cases that don't exist. And so no, it does not verify itself, but it doesn't tell you when it's unsure either.
Microsoft Research released a new model called Claimify. It's an LLM, just like ChatGPT, but I think it has a couple of added features that make it a little bit more accurate. So one of the things it's really good at doing is called disambiguation. So when the answer is vague, it'll actually force the LLM into a more precision-based answer. The other thing it does is decompositions. So if it's, blurting out a bunch of quote unquote facts, it'll actually break it down and verify each one independently. And then creating context around the answer as well. So it'll probably ask for more context from the user to just kind of shape its answers. So in results, it shows that Claimify strikes the best balance between including verifiable content and excluding unverifiable content. And Claimify is least likely to omit context critical to the facts checking verdict.
Yeah, I'm looking at the paper, and the thing that stands out to me is it looks like, so they had it create like an article about provide an overview of challenges in emerging markets that ChatGPT, the 4.0 model, created. And then they ran it through Claimify, and it seems sort of like a high-end fact checker.
Right.
Because then it listed a whole bunch of like flag, like it analyzed each statement and then flagged like what the issues are with each statement and then verified, is it too vague? Is it just factually incorrect?
That's exactly it. So it has a sequential block within the algorithm. It'll go through, it'll split up each of the claims, and then from each of the claims, it'll disambiguation process one, decomposition process one, and then give you what it thinks is the right answer. It's really pertinent in the world where we live in a lot of fake news and just a lot of...
Or just inaccurate. Or especially if you're using these outputs.
There's a lot of AI output out there. Who knows if it's true or not?
Yeah. And then the problem is it gets published and then it gets cited as something. It's so fulfilling circle of like
this
inaccuracy.
Is definitely needed, especially if you're looking at Microsoft as far as like Bing or, like a search engine result. I think there you would have to have correct data. Like if you're having like a personal conversation between ChatGPT, it's maybe not as important.
Yeah. But if you're like, write me something about this, or I'm trying to research something.
Right.
But I think Bing, that is probably what this is for, and why that's a good point, because there's like also so many examples of like Google's context summary search, like summarizing and providing like the craziest, like inaccurate summaries from the results.
100%.
So I could definitely see this being used for probably why they developed it, to be run it on Bing checks and summaries to make sure they're not like putting out crazy stuff.
Yeah. And it's really nice that, we've gone through the last few years of like the basic building blocks, right? Like we got introduced to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT improved, and now we're seeing like a level of refinement. We covered, Sakana AI, the other episode, which is like adding a layer of synchronization and time to generative models. And now Microsoft Research is adding a layer of verification, a blue check mark, to an LLM. So like I think this is the most interesting time, because now we are seeing this stuff really come into fruition in a useful way.
I'm wondering if you can kind of give it the sources you want to check or verify on, like to like be the issue of like, I don't want it to like go find another web page to check it against, but maybe that web page is like from an unreputable source. It's like, can you just verify this against either our internal documents or like this PDF report, or like, verified news sites like CNN or New York Times, or these sites that already have their own internal fact checkers and run fact checkers. Yeah, but this could be a huge time saver, and also just help verify stuff. Like, I would use this on.
Yeah, I mean, you use ChatGPT Deep Research a lot, right?
So, I use that a bit. I mean, most of the thing I use a lot
most of the time.
I mostly use Perplexity, because Perplexity does really well at like the answers it provides. It has citation links to where it found it. So then if I need to double check, like, is this accurate, or where'd you find this? Like the link's right there. I can click it and it'll take me to the website of where it's getting that information.
Right.
And so it's pretty accurate and on the dot.
Yeah.
But I'm also not doing the most like intensive
like
market research type stuff.
If you're writing a paper for the United Nations.
Yeah, and also stuff where it's like legally you cannot be, you cannot be incorrect. Make stuff up or be wrong.
Or if you're an actual journalist on Associated Press, like, and you're using AI, like, you got to use something like this.
Yeah, but this could also just definitely speed up the fact checking process as well. Yeah, I don't think people are aware of like how, because I've been on the end of like working with like large media outlets, and like there are people, they're fact checkers. Their dedicated job is to run through all the articles, and they will flag hundreds of lines.
They're really good.
They're very thorough, and they will flag everything and ask you like, where, prove this source, like prove this fact.
Yeah. I think a news outlet depends on the accuracy of its reports.
Yeah. Right? Both for like just them being a legitimate news organization, and legally. Like,
right. It's good business practice.
Inaccurate information.
Yeah.
So this is a great find. I'm glad to see this. And I'm guessing, maybe other models can just roll it in, or.
We're seeing a lot more of what I call cross-membrane stuff. It's like, for example, you saw Adobe just started to use the ChatGPT image generator within the ecosystem. We're going to see more like models being used around, because I think right now the race is like, how can we actually use this at an application level? So like if, for example, I'm just giving an example. On Photoshop, you're trying to do this thing with AI, but Firefly is just not high quality enough. Can you just check a box and use Flux?
Yeah, and I think people are getting better at knowing like what models or what tools are better at specific tasks. So it's like, are you going to need to use Claimify for like everything you run? No, probably not. But if you're writing a paper or something, then you'd want to run it through that. Yeah.
What I worry about though, as the future of the AI industry progresses, is like, if the money is not in the models, then why spend billions of dollars on the models?
Yeah, I know you talked about this before, but the money's going to be in maybe not the $20 a month products that these companies offer, but in the API calls for all of the back end for everything that's running through these models.
Maybe it's that.
Yeah. I think that's where...
I hope it's that. I just hope we don't get to a world where the models stagnate and we're not incrementally making them better. Because the economics aren't there.
Or maybe it's a DeepSeek and you can just do more with less, or
maybe it's that.
Train a model towards more of a specific task.
Yeah.
It's like, I know if I'm trying to do general stuff, ChatGPT is pretty good at it. If I'm trying to like throw a bunch of data at something, Gemini has a big window, so it's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
if I'm trying to do more writing type stuff, Claude is good at writing. So it's like
there's already a specialization.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be further that, right? It's going to be more highly specialized going forward and less general purpose.
Yeah, I think we're getting, well, I mean, everything changes so fast, but I think we're getting where it's like, all the large models are like pretty good baseline right now. And it's like, figuring out the specialized tools and applications for them.
Yep.
All right. Good place to wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Links for everything that we talked about, as usual, at denoisepodcast.com.
We have one comment on Apple Podcasts. We'd love it if you could just throw us a comment on Apple Podcast. A positive one would be highly appreciated.
Yeah. Leave a 5-star review. That's the easiest way. And then if you feel like leaving a review, please leave one. You could ask ChatGPT to write your review and just copy and paste it. Something nice.
It helps us a lot with algorithms.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in the next episode.